Hey everyone, welcome back to Speak English Podcast. I'm David, and I'm here with my amazing co-host Sarah. Sarah, how are you doing today?
Thank you so much, David. I'm doing fantastic, and I'm really excited about today's episode because we're tackling something huge.
You know what? I bet right now, as you're watching this, you're mispronouncing words that native speakers use every single day.
And here's the crazy part. These aren't complicated words. These are simple, everyday words that can make or break your English fluency.
I'm talking about words you hear in movies, conversations, and podcasts, but you might be saying them completely wrong without knowing it.
Exactly. And when you get these right, people will immediately notice how much more natural and confident you sound when speaking English.
So if you want to finally sound like you really know English, smash that like button right now and hit subscribe for more fluency secrets.
Trust me, by the end of this video, you'll discover pronunciation mistakes you didn't even know you were making. Let's dive right in.
So Sarah, let's talk about what we actually mean when we say common mispronunciation. Most English learners focus on individual sounds, but they're missing the bigger picture of how native speakers actually communicate in real-life situations.
Exactly, David. The truth is, pronunciation isn't just about making perfect sounds. It's about understanding the natural rhythm and flow that makes English sound smooth and effortless when native speakers talk at normal speed.
Here's what's really interesting. There are specific types of words that almost every English learner struggles with. These aren't complex academic terms, but everyday words that you hear constantly in movies, conversations, and music.
And the reason these words are so tricky is because the way they're written doesn't match how they're actually spoken. Native speakers naturally compress, blend, and reduce certain sounds to make communication more efficient.
Think about it this way. When you listen to fast English conversations, songs, or movies, you probably miss certain words even though you know their meanings. That's because natives use patterns that aren't taught in textbooks.
The technique we're sharing today focuses on 3 key elements that make all the difference. First is word stress, then there's sound reduction, and finally the way sounds connect and flow together in natural speech patterns.
What most people don't realize is that fighting against these natural patterns actually makes your English sound choppy and unnatural. It's like trying to swim upstream instead of going with the current of the language.
So today we're going to show you exactly how to work with English pronunciation patterns instead of against them. Once you understand these secrets, your speaking will immediately sound more confident and natural.
All right, Sarah, let's jump straight into our first example. How do most English learners say the word comfortable? They usually try to pronounce every single letter they see, making it sound very slow and unnatural in conversations.
Oh, this is perfect, David. Most people say it like they're reading it letter by letter. But listen carefully to how native speakers actually say it in real life. We say it much faster and smoother, almost like we're skipping parts of the word completely.
Exactly. Now, let's try another tricky one. The word vegetable. Again, learners often try to pronounce it very carefully and clearly, but natives compress it into something that sounds completely different when we're speaking at normal speed.
Here's one that drives everyone crazy. The word kernel. This one is especially confusing because the spelling makes you think it should sound one way, but native speakers pronounce it exactly like the word kernel. Completely different.
And what about Wednesday? Most people try to say every letter they see, but when natives use this word in everyday conversation, it sounds nothing like what you'd expect from looking at the spelling. We blend sounds together naturally.
Let me give you one more example that's super common. The word February. People often struggle with this because they're trying to pronounce sounds that native speakers naturally skip or reduce when we're talking at conversational speed.
Notice the pattern here, everyone. English pronunciation isn't about perfect articulation of every letter. It's about understanding how sounds naturally flow together when native speakers communicate in real-world situations.
The key is recognizing that these aren't mistakes or lazy speech. These are actually the correct ways that native speakers pronounce these words in natural, fluent English conversation every single day.
So Sarah, why is getting these pronunciations right so incredibly important? What actually changes when someone masters these natural pronunciation patterns that we've been talking about in today's episode?
Well, David, first and most importantly is clarity. When you pronounce words the way natives expect to hear them, communication becomes effortless. People understand you immediately instead of having to guess what you're saying.
Absolutely. And there's also this huge confidence boost that happens. When you know you're pronouncing words correctly, you speak with certainty. You stop avoiding certain words because you're unsure how to say them properly.
Plus, your listening comprehension improves dramatically. Once you understand how natives actually pronounce these words, you'll start catching them in movies, podcasts, songs, and real conversations. It's like magic.
Here's something people don't expect. You will actually speak faster and more naturally. When you use correct pronunciation patterns, your speech flows better because you're working with English rhythm, not against it.
And think about this. You'll sound more professional in job interviews, business meetings, and social situations. People will perceive you as more fluent and competent when your pronunciation matches their expectations.
The social benefits are huge, too. You'll feel more comfortable joining conversations, making jokes, and expressing yourself freely because you're not constantly worried about whether people understand your pronunciation.
Exactly. It's the difference between swimming with the current versus swimming upstream. Correct pronunciation makes everything about speaking English easier, more natural, and definitely more enjoyable for everyone involved.
Okay, Sarah, so how can our viewers start practicing this right away? What's the exact step-by-step process they should follow to master these pronunciation patterns we've been discussing throughout this episode?
Great question, David. Step 1 is awareness and comparison. Record yourself saying these common words, then listen to native speakers saying the same words online. Notice the differences between your version and theirs.
Step 2 is focusing on the rhythm and stress patterns first, before worrying about individual sounds. Get the musical flow of the word right, then fine-tune the details. This approach is much more effective than the opposite.
Step 3 is what we call shadow practice. Find videos or audio clips of native speakers using these words in natural contexts, and repeat immediately after them without pausing. Match their speed and rhythm exactly.
Step 4 is crucial. Practice these words in phrases and sentences, not just by themselves. Words sound different when they're connected to other words in natural speech patterns that natives use every day.
Step 5 is consistency over perfection. Practice 10 to 15 minutes daily, rather than cramming for hours once a week. Your mouth needs time to develop muscle memory for these new pronunciation patterns gradually.
And here's step 6. Be patient with the process. Your brain and mouth are learning completely new movement patterns. It takes time, but the improvement will be noticeable if you stick with consistent, daily practice.
Remember, everyone, the goal isn't to sound exactly like a native speaker overnight. The goal is steady progress toward clearer, more natural pronunciation that makes your English communication more effective and confident.
Now, Sarah, what are the biggest mistakes you see English learners making when they try to improve their pronunciation? What are the common traps that actually hold people back from sounding natural?
Oh, David, the #1 mistake is trying to pronounce every single letter they see on paper. English spelling and pronunciation don't always match, and learners get trapped thinking they need to articulate every sound clearly.
Exactly. Another huge mistake is focusing too much on individual sounds while completely ignoring word stress and rhythm. You might get every consonant and vowel perfect, but if the stress is wrong, it still sounds off.
Here's one that might surprise people: overpronunciation. Some learners think clearer means louder and more precise, but natural English actually relies on a beautiful rhythm of stressed and unstressed sounds flowing together.
Also, practicing words in isolation instead of in connected speech. The way you say a word by itself is completely different from how it sounds when it's part of a natural sentence or conversation flow.
Another big mistake is giving up too quickly when it doesn't sound perfect immediately. Pronunciation improvement is gradual, and expecting instant results leads to frustration and abandoning the practice altogether, unfortunately.
And here's a sneaky one: copying the wrong models. Not all English you hear online or in movies represents natural, everyday pronunciation. Choose your sources carefully for the most authentic examples possible.
To avoid these mistakes, always listen to words in context, focus on the music and rhythm of English, embrace natural reductions, and remember that consistent practice beats perfect practice every single time.
So Sarah, let's wrap this up with the main takeaway. Today, we discovered that pronunciation isn't about perfecting every sound, but understanding how native speakers naturally compress and flow words together in real conversations.
Exactly, David. We learned that common words like comfortable, vegetable, and Wednesday sound completely different in natural speech than what you'd expect from their spelling, and that's totally normal and correct.
The key benefits we discussed include clearer communication, better listening comprehension, increased confidence, and most importantly, more natural flowing speech that sounds effortless and professional.
And remember the practice steps. Record yourself, shadow native speakers, focus on rhythm first, practice in context, stay consistent, and be patient. Small daily practice beats cramming sessions every single time.
If you got value from today's episode, drop a comment below telling us which word surprised you the most. We read every comment and love hearing about your pronunciation, discoveries, and breakthroughs.
And if you made it all the way to the end of this video, that shows you're seriously committed to improving your English fluency. Hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up to support the channel.
Thanks for watching Speak English Podcast. Keep practicing these natural pronunciation patterns, stay curious about how English really sounds, and remember that every small improvement matters.
We'll see you in the next episode with more fluency secrets that will transform your English speaking confidence. Until then, keep practicing and keep speaking English naturally.